Well, welcome to Experts at EWU. I'm Kent Adams, and I'm going to like this one because it's an area I don't know too much about, but I appreciate those who have the talent in it, okay? And don't we all on various things that we wish we could be a singer or a photographer or a graphic artist or whatever? I'm sorry I wasn't born with those talents, but she is. And the she is Dawn Volsky.
Yes,
Did I get that right?
you sure did.
All right.
Nice work.
If I didn't get it right, your husband would probably call me and say something, right? Yeah. What was your maiden name?
Kaspro,
Oh, okay.
and possibly Kasparov before that. So my maiden name is also Polish.
Oh, of course.
Also Polish, and married a Polish man from Warsaw. So
Okay.
there we
okay.
go.
All right. Well, that's great. You are the former, I've got my notes here so I get this correct. You are the former director of the Inland Northwest Opera, and you are now an instructor of vocal studies for the EWU music program. And that's brand new, isn't it?
That is.
How new is it?
Well, okay. My last day with INO, Inland Northwest Opera, I was
Right.
general and artistic director. So that's kind of like executive director and artistic all rolled into one. They replaced me with two people.
Of course.
So there we go. So INO's doing great. And my last day with them was the end of April 30th. But I actually started adjuncting at Eastern in September. I knew that my transition out of INO was coming.
You were good.
And Eastern needed another voice faculty, and I called over there and I said, I do this all the time. I'd really like to help you out. Can I help you out? I said, I can't do a lot right now. I have another job,
Right.
but I can come, one day a week. And
And they seized on that.
they did.
Good.
And I just loved every second of it. I was,
good.
the last 5 years, I haven't been able to do as much teaching. I've maintained a private studio.
Right.
Artists, we do a lot of different
I
things,
know,
right?
I
It's
know.
kind of
I've
like
learned that.
you're a Renaissance person. I mean, you have to, it's part of how you have to make your living, right? You're doing arts administration here, and you're performing and singing here. I've sung with the symphony, Spokane Symphony this last year a few times, and so you're always doing some different things. And I said, I'll head over there, and yes, I was actually surprised at how much I was going to just cherish my opportunity at EWU.
Oh, and you're in your element now.
I'm in
aren't
my
you?
element. So January came along, and I said, look, I'm not going to be here much longer. Yeah, I'll take on more. So I pulled some 16-hour days with my two jobs and saw my kid in between. Didn't sleep very much, but just adored it. So yeah.
What people ask me because of my age and I retired a few years ago. You can see how successfully I retired, and they said, "What advice do you have?" And the one thing I say is, enjoy what you're doing. Really enjoy it, because you'll get to my age, and can you look back and go, "Yes, I got to do a lot of what I really wanted to do. Maybe not all, just because."
Life.
Some
Just 'cause
life
life,
gets
right?
in the way, kids and everything else. But that is so important, and it's like it's a strange bit of advice. But I've had people say, that is good advice, because here I am at 40 or at 45, and how much longer can I be doing this? And my wife asked, that was the first of two questions she asked me. And I said, yes, I loved everything I did, and when I didn't, I fired them and moved on.
All right.
Oh, okay. And then she said, I wanted to be a photographer. I trained with one of the best in the Pasadena, California area, who did corporate and movie stars and stuff like that, and so forth. And that's what I wanted to do back then, but I took a different route, as we often do in life. And she says, you don't have any hobbies anymore. And I said, I've really been lucky in the work that I've done. I've never really seen it as work. And I have the feeling you're also on that same track.
I know sometimes people ask what else you
Yeah.
do. And, I do. I like to cook and garden. But I think it all comes back. And I'll add something there. And I don't know that this is for everyone, but I think you need to be doing something that you love.
Yes.
But there always needs to be an element of making a difference
Yes.
in the lives around you and serving.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
if we are not giving to the region and
We're not
to
full.
the community, you don't get. You have to give
Yeah.
to receive, I think. And so, I mean, if I look back, so I sort of have a 5 to 7 year thing. I get in these projects and I do it. And we had my going away farewell sort of send off last night with INO, and the speech that was given ahead of time. They called me a disruptor. Disruptor with a capital D, right? And I think that when you can make some changes
Yeah.
and disrupt in a good way, but uh, affect the community or people around
Yeah.
you. So I hope to do that at EWU. I did that at INO, but before that, I was performing a
yeah.
lot, and before that, I was in the military and sang in the army.
Wow.
So I keep just doing and teaching. I always come back to the teaching, because what's the point of learning?
If
Right.
you,
And as artists, we're always learning. What's the point of learning if you can't share
pass
it
yes.
with someone else, and
Yeah.
whether or not they listen is kind of on them. But
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
really loud about it. So hopefully my
Well, you're
students,
so shy.
I am
Yeah.
very,
Yeah. Yeah.
you got to get up there and sing in front of people. You gotta be able to do it.
Well,
but-
we had an intern.
Mm-hmm.
He's graduated from Whitworth College, University, excuse me.
Yes.
And his fiance, they're getting married toward the end of July. And she is going into opera.
Oh,
and
fabulous.
has been accepted at USC for their master's
Cool.
program and so forth. And so that's where they're moving for a year and a half, whatever it takes and so forth. So often is the case, it's, well, I'll move where my husband is moving. In this case, he's going to Los Angeles because that's where she's going.
Times are changing, Kent.
Yeah, I know. I think it's great though. And she knows that she needs to get that master's now because later she wants to teach. And now's the time to do that, so forth. So
Well, the thing with opera, I'll tell you a little bit about it.
Yeah.
We come at this instrument later in life,
Really?
in some ways. Okay, so on one hand, we don't. You start singing from, hopefully, hopefully everyone is singing from the time they start to talk, because music is just an integral part of our,
Right.
beauty and happiness
Right.
as a
did you have
as
that
humanity.
growing up?
I did. My son does too. I'm making up songs all the time.
Oh,
One of the things I like to tell people, I had no idea. We had a rule at the dinner table. There's no singing at the dinner table. And I just thought everybody had that rule. Like like your elbows or,
Yeah, yeah.
chew with your mouth
You
closed
show up
and
on
stuff.
time and a few things
I
like
did
that.
not find out that was not a thing for everyone until I was easily in my mid-20s. And I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
what do you mean? These are one of the rules. And they're like, not for most normal people. But yeah, so the thing about, unlike violin, so my husband's a violinist, right? And in order to be successful, really truly successful at the violin, with a few exceptions, you need to start it young.
Yes.
Because your body has to grow around the instrument like
It has
a
to be
tree.
natural.
Well, it's just we don't bend that way. Our hands don't
Yeah.
do that naturally, unless as you are growing, it happens that you like I said, like a tree, you kind of grow around the violin.
Right.
But with voice, you obviously can learn a lot about music, and you can do quite a bit as a child. But the instrument just simply is not at a point of maturity. It doesn't even start to kind of come into that
Okay.
until
So did
your
you
later
sing in
teen
high
years.
school and junior high and all
I
that?
did. I actually was going to be a chemist or
Oh.
something different, and then I really had this will actually circle back here to EWU. I really didn't enjoy my chemistry teacher in high school,
Yeah.
and I happened to be taking choir, and I just was inspired and thought, well, I could do this all the time. And I was going to go actually be a choral conductor, and that didn't happen. I ended up enjoying performing quite a bit more. But
Good.
it's such a testament to our educators. If they inspire us and help us find the joy, like circling back to what you said,
Yes.
you got to enjoy what you're doing. And teachers have a real charge and responsibility to help people not only become experts and
Right.
learn the material, but find that joy.
Yes. I don't know how many professors from EWU and others that have come in that have sat where you're sitting have said, I really found myself. It was that favorite chemistry professor at EWU, or it was it was biology in at WSU or whatever it was. And I've got a grandson who started off pre-law at Gonzaga. And do you know what he's doing? He's getting ready for his second year, sports management.
Nice.
Okay, the number one almost the number one basketball team in the country. You know, and they can put that on his card at some
Yeah.
point, and so forth. In fact, he's one of the managers for the men's basketball team. And I said, I'm glad you've taken a look at something else. You may want to go back to law at some time, but find your passion, and that's where you do it. You got ideas in high school. You think you know where you're going to go, but it's not really until that level post-secondary education that you really kind of find what you want to do, whether it be in a trade school or in a university.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm going to add to that too, because besides loving, loving the work that you do,
Yes.
you really, for me, I'm discovering how important it is to love the people with whom you work.
Yes. Yes.
And I've been fortunate to just, in many different stages of my career to
I
be
hear ya.
surrounded by a number of great people. But it's crazy at EWU, because the music program, this faculty, is filled with the movers and shakers and some of the best musicians in this town.
Right.
So when people's
Right.
doors are open and you walk down the hallway, I'm like, I'm like, I got to go back and teach, but I really want to come and talk to Christina Ploger Hekmapana, and I want to talk to Jody Graves, and I'm always harassing John Marshall and just a bunch of these people.
So you're
And
loving it there, aren't
I
you?
am, and I've got this other really cool thing that's happening over at EWU, which I'll be careful here, but it's really not happening anywhere else to the same degree. They have a full-time, world-class vocal coach, adjunct, but
Wow.
full-time there. His name is Scott Rednor, and Scott and I met when I was at Music Conservatory in New York City, which is where
Oh.
I met my husband. Scott was my coach when I got my master's from Manhattan School of Music. I gave some music to a student the other day, and I hadn't made much connection until we were sitting in the juries, and Scott plays for her, and I suddenly had this moment where I was
Oh my gosh.
transported back 25 years and said, because he had assigned me that piece.
Yes.
And I realized I hadn't heard him play
love it.
this Le Exquise, this gorgeous piece by Ronaldo Hahn, French composer. And he starts playing for one of my students. And I realized those notes on the music that I handed to her, I probably got from him.
Yes.
And it's full circle around. And he mentioned this to me when I was moving out to Spokane from New York. I said,
Right.
and I was calling it wrong at the time. I said, well, Spokane, where's that?
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
Now I cringe. Doesn't
Yeah.
take very long to learn the right thing. And Scott's
No, enough
and he
people
goes-
will point it
and
out.
he goes, and he just said, Dawn, he's like, I'm from there, and you're going to go out there and you're going to realize you're going to find musicians and faculty that are as good as anyone as you
Yes,
find here in New
yes.
York City. And here's what it was. So my husband used to play with New York Philharmonic.
Wow.
Okay. And now he's over here. He's concertmaster of the Spokane Symphony, and he's a better musician than he ever was when, Kurt Mazur was conducting him, or any of these people. I'm a better teacher. I taught at NYU, one of the top
Yeah.
music, programs in the country, especially for musical theater. And I've learned more and know more and can give more with the community at EWU than I had there. And there's something that this region does, right? We're in the business of nurturing and making better people.
We're a metropolitan area of about 500,000, right? Okay. We still are a small town.
Yeah.
I know of restaurants that even opened during the pandemic, of course, which was a crazy time, but anyway, who the restaurant down the street came and said, let me give you some hints and ideas for this neighborhood and so forth. You can
care, right?
Yeah, you can get to almost anyone in Spokane through at least one person. I mean, and they'll
is true.
help you out. They'll listen to you. They'll go, well, maybe, but have you thought of this? And you walk away with a whole new direction. That's what I love about this town. I've been here 45 years, and this is home. People ask where you're
Yeah.
from. I grew up in Southern California. We moved up here when
DC, and this is now my home.
it is.
I hear ya.
When people say, where are you from? Spokane. You know, two
The-
of my kids were born here.
Mhm.
All of the kids grew up here, really from 5 or 6 when the ones that we brought from California
Yeah.
and so forth. And we cleansed them right away and got them involved. And it's home. Most of them are here in Spokane. And the other one moved back from California to Bellingham area. So they're only a day, less than a day drive here, except in the wintertime. But yes, it's home. And I love it here. It's just,
We're
yeah.
on the same page. We
Yeah,
could talk about
we
Spokane all day, I tell you.
I know. I got to ask you, what triggers your inner soul the most when it comes to working with and teaching the young people at EWU?
What triggers me the most?
Yeah, because you obviously get something
It
out
is
of
the
it.
joy of those light bulb moments
Uh-huh.
where the kid, you know,
Gets it.
gets it. But sometimes with singing and with the arts in general, it's really hard because we are so everyone is it's part of our core and basic need, I think, as
Yeah.
humans, past food and shelter, of course.
Yeah.
This need for beauty.
Yes.
And we look for it in
Yes.
all of these different ways, to the point that it's so critical for our existence that we downplay it because all of us are looking for those
Yes.
things. And so
Yes.
it's easy, people say this all the time. Oh, you're a singer. You what a talent. You must have been born with it. And I'm like, dude, talent is a tiny fraction and hard work
Hard
is
work,
the rest.
yeah.
And that is the case everywhere, but we sort of forget it because it's
Yeah.
just something we do and we sing to
Well,
our
because
kids.
so
and-
many of us can't do what you do.
You know what? I'll tell you what. A lot of people can. A lot of people can. They just
Oh.
they haven't had the done the work or found the time.
Yeah.
I had one student in high school, a high school student who came to me completely tone deaf
Yeah.
and left with a $100,000 scholarship to music conservatory,
Oh,
which
wow.
helped pay his way to be a dentist. I
Yeah.
mean, this is kind of how this works. And so sometimes kids, they don't know. They start
Yeah.
college, and singers are kind of finding their footing, and
Again, but
they don't realize how much work
that's what
there
college
is.
in the university system
That's
can.
that's what
Yeah.
our job is, to kind of say,
Yeah.
hey, look, great. I'm so excited for your talent, but here are these light bulb moments. It's not just opening your mouth and singing a tune, and I don't have to typically educate them, but it's those moments where they go, oh, that's what I should be doing. And it's being able to go back. So I have them all record their lessons, of course. So they go back. They need to write down every word I say, good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah.
Hopefully not too much ugly. But they go and have these moments where even 2 months prior, they can compare
Yes.
directly one to the next. We
And see the difference and hear the difference.
artists are constantly in the business of self assessment.
Yeah, I imagine.
And I think as humans, once you stop learning, you might as well just,
Yeah.
throw in the towel. And so as artists, we get to do that. So also being able to help them learn how to learn
Yeah.
and
Well,
deal with the whole person.
the story I tell people is I was not a great high school student. I was not a great college student and all of that. I had other interests out there, like a lot of young people do. I learn more now, and I learn by doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I learned so much. I get to meet people that I probably would never otherwise meet, hear about their successes and so forth. And what you talked about in terms of giving back and so forth has always been part of my credo, that you give back, and that's part of what you just do in the community and so forth. And you're just a delight.
Well,
you
thank
really
you.
are. You really are. I want
Well,
to.
I'm happy. It's my husband. I mean, I've been happy
Yeah.
with many, many different things I've done, but getting up in the morning
Yeah.
and getting over to that campus, even the drive.
Yeah.
Even the drive over to Cheney and seeing the the farms on one side and then coming through the highway and
Yeah.
seeing Spokane and the city. Actually, I want to circle back because you just said something about, and I think this is important. You said you weren't a good student in these times, and you're learning how to learn. I think that as educators, and especially in the arts, we have that opportunity. We don't forget, but the systems in place
Yeah.
sometimes focus on how to make good students. I saw it with my child's kindergarten, where they're trying to teach them how to be a student, and then they forget that we are all hardwired to love learning.
Yeah.
And if you just give people the room and the space to pursue their interests and their passions, like we circle back there, we'll learn more about everything else. And we often don't discover that until we're out of school.
Yes.
And
Isn't that
so
the
I'm
truth?
trying with these students too to kind of give some of these life lessons and say,
And get
you know
out
what?
and try some things.
And also, and it doesn't matter. Nobody dies when you hit a wrong note. Okay.
Yeah.
Luckily, this is not open heart
Oh,
surgery.
I would have killed several thousand.
Okay. I said, I might die a little inside if you sing it that way. But
Yeah.
let's be clear here. The idea is we have stories to tell. We have things to
Yeah.
learn. What are you going to learn? What am I going to learn from you? Which I'm constantly learning from my students. And if we can, yes, we're trying to create people who can then enter the workforce. And I was talking to some faculty this week to be completely floored to be able to tell you that EWU has almost 100% placement in their music program for
Wow.
people getting jobs. I don't know if you know how hard that is.
I would imagine.
How hard it is to work as a musician. And
Yes.
part of it is because they're not just focusing on performance, they're focusing on the education, they're
Yes.
focusing on entrepreneurship, they're
Yes.
focusing on the business
Good.
of music, which is not something when I was in school. We were basically like, okay, I walked into music conservatory and they said 1% of you will make a living in this business.
Yeah.
And these were the top, singers and stuff everywhere.
Right.
Because there was not this focus on marketing and your own business. And how is it that you talk to a conductor?
Welcome
How
to
do
the
you-
real world.
Yes,
know?
but it's not how it was done. And so, here we are. My students can go from my vocal studio and pop over and to talk to, 17 different experts who are going to stop and take their time
I love
to
it.
create the complete person. But I think it's happening because EWU is such an integral part of the region
Yes.
in terms of it. So many of their students do go on to major grad schools. I
Sure,
mean,
sure.
much higher than is, I think, pretty considered normal
Yeah.
in the industry. But so many of their students come and give back and live here and stay
Yes.
here and teach the next generation. I don't know. It's just a cool place. So
And-
anyway, I
and
keep plugging it, but it's
Well, EWU
like
is
it.
our university.
well,
I mean, and when it comes down to it, we can talk about WSU and the others and so on and so forth, but it's our university.
yes.
High
Placement. And in the arts, I'll have to say this too. Being an artist
Yes.
is expensive.
Yeah.
It is, and it's sad because you have to spend so much money to make, go have a career in something that is not going to pay you, at the same level as almost any other. Going to trade school, you're going to
Right.
make more money.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that is also excellent about EWU is that it's a place where you can have world-class faculty, but it's affordable.
Mhm.
I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine in Portland the other day who charges less than she's worth. She sings all over the world and she's incredible. And she said, and I'm going to step in it here, probably somewhere. I am a disruptor. But she said, I asked her what she charges, and it was really reasonable for Portland and really hard for her to make a living there. And she said, well, I feel that it's unethical to charge more for these students who I don't want art to be something that only the elite
Yeah.
can master.
Yeah.
And it really stuck with me.
Yeah.
She's going to come sing here with the opera this season. And it really stuck with me. And I thought, gosh, I feel lucky to teach at a place where these students can also afford it. And so people
Yeah.
of all different backgrounds can
And
get
where
this
it's appreciated
opportunity.
in the community.
It is.
Yeah.
I feel, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I could talk about them all day, but this community is an exceptional place to raise my child and to
Yeah.
be able to give back. So
Yeah.
I'm having fun.
Well,
Sounds like you're having fun too.
you and your husband are obviously doing that, and
We do.
so, yeah, that's
But the
great.
community, I think the community's given us more than we've given the community. So
Yeah, I'm not sure, but
community
Dawn,
doesn't see it.
thank you so much, and
thank you.
keep up. Can I come out sometime and watch you with your class?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's allowed.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
so my lessons are
I-
one-on-one.
I've gotten a couple professors that have said yes, so I think it's okay if I get an
All
okay
right,
from you.
you get an
Yeah.
okay from me
Yeah.
and watch how my
But because
students
you
learn.
know we can talk all day
Right.
about how you do it and so forth, but to see it, it is an experience, and I'd love to see.
You
some
should
of
take
these
a little
fresh
tour
faces.
and
Yeah,
see what some of these people do. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
yeah, it's fun.
we'll do it. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, it's nice to meet
and
you.
welcome to EWU.
Yeah.
And experts at EWU.
Hey, thanks.
Have a good day, everybody. Thank you.